Episode 2 of Coach Prime Season 2 begins away from the football field and in the hospital. Deion Sanders takes a brief stint away from his off-season coaching duties to get surgery on his foot prior to the season starting. Some may not know this, but Deion Sanders suffered from what is called turf toe during his career. It almost inevitably cut his career a few years too short. We open with him getting surgery due to blood clots in his foot. Sanders is missing a few toes on his foot and has scar tissue all over his left leg. It's not a pretty sight, and it's a glimpse into life post-NFL. Coach Prime's surgery was a success, but as he returns to the practice field, he is met with some lackluster performances on the field from his players. Sanders shows disappointment in his players rather than discouraging actions. It's a tactic that works on players to get inside their heads and make them perform better rather than coming down on them in an aggressive manner. The big end to the first 2 episodes is the first game of the season. CU has to play the runners-up to the 2022 National Championship, TCU. They also have to go on the road to Texas to play them in a road game. To all of U.S. football fans, it seemed like a massive media circus around Colorado, with the question being raised, how good is the Deion Sanders Colorado football team going to be in the opener? Some just want a close loss due to TCU being a great team that was completely blown out of the water by Georgia in last year's title game. Sanders keeps his players focused and out of the media's attention. He puts the focus on him. It may make him look arrogant, but it's all just a tactic to feed the press and let his players play ball. In a scene prior to practice, Coach Prime enters the meeting room and talks about something that happened to him prior to coming in that day. The doctor had removed his cast from his surgery and pulled 2 very long stents out of his toes. It's disgusting if you think about it. They were in place to help his foot heal better, and now he will be able to have much better balance when walking. Sanders uses this story as motivation for his players to overcome any obstacle. The day finally arrives, and Deion, now healthy after his surgery, leads his team onto the field to play TCU. A game many think they will lose. But as those who saw it on television know, that was not the case. Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter have a field day. The game wasn't a blowout, TCU stayed in it, but in the end, CU shocks the world and wins the game in a shootout, 45-42 in their favor. The buzz now circulates around the Deion Sanders team that they just may be the real deal. There is a nice, intimate moment after the game where Sanders sits alone and thanks Jesus multiple times for the day and all its glory. He then goes to the podium and calls out reporters who thought his team was going to be a bust on their opening day. The episode review. If you weren't rooting for Coach Prime back in September when his team pulled off this win, how can you not be rooting for them now? There's a lot to unpack here with this second episode. Sanders' foot surgery felt very serious. Once you get a look at his legs and feet, you really see how serious post-football life can be for some. Sanders oftentimes comes off as arrogant or defiant. In the surgery room and post-game in the locker room, we see him in more humbling moments, which goes to show you a lot about his character. The teaser for the showdown at the tail end of the episode definitely keeps you excited to see episode 3. Some may remember the comments of the Nebraska coaching staff. Nothing about the show so far seems fabricated. It's definitely shaping up to be one of the best sports documentaries of the year.